What's going on, everybody? This is Jeff with AltCoin Buzz. So right now we're seeing a massive sea of red start coming through, right? And we're going to take this time in this video to talk about what I see, what you guys see, what the news is talking about, which is very little. But let's go ahead and dive in here and talk about some things. But before we do, for those of you who've been keeping up with the channel for a while, AltCoin Army, we did put out this shirt here. So AltCoin Army, obviously the logo's off. We have another logo that we could use. But does anyone know why the market is dropping is why I'm making this video. I think it would look good, better as a football jersey. Take my money and get one ASAP. Hope I can use BTC to pay for it. I'd rock it for sure. I have a few different kicks I can wear with it. I like. And then we got some people who say things like, well, okay, I need this, to be honest. If you guys had a better logo, I would hit it up. Then you got this guy saying trash. So, I mean, it's just a matter of opinion, and we are going to roll out some different jerseys and stuff. But because this video is about the market, let's go ahead and get back into that. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of red here. And if I look at the market cap, what we need to look at here is we need to look at the last 3 months. Okay, so the very bottom of this thing is around about $491 billion. That's where it finds support, $486 billion. We're still well above that. That's where we were around December 24th. So we're still up from the Christmas situation. Now, the thing that I always suggest is this. Let's take a look at how long this period of stagnation or this dip, this correction, took, how long it lasted from December 21st till about, started going up again around January 2nd. This right here happened around about January 7th, and right now it's about the 14th. I'm sorry, the 15th. So we're looking at 8 days. So this took about 11 to 12 days to finally start surging again, and we're day 8 here. So what we're going to do, we're going to get the historical on this, and we're going to see if we can get any sort of trend out of it based on this chart on the market cap. But in terms of how low this thing can go, we just look at where we're at right now, right? I mean, that's a massive fall off, $641 billion. More than likely a buying opportunity. We've seen this thing go to $628 billion last Thursday. So if it breaks $628 billion, the support level, it'll crawl back even further. And then after that, you'd be looking at around $560 billion. If it breaks support at 560, then we're looking at pre-Christmas levels of 422 billion. Okay, which could be a good thing or it could be a real bad thing. But here's what I have always been saying, and I'm going to stick with this. If this thing was a dying engine, I don't think Goldman Sachs would be building out a trading desk. I don't think that Chicago Mercantile Exchange would create a futures board. I don't think that these other major websites, these other Wall Street people would create or would build these infrastructures if the market was going to zero. Now, also keep in mind, I don't think all the exchanges would be doing this massive overhaul right now if this whole thing was going to zero. So if I take all of that and I put it together and I say, what do the signals tell me? I say that we're in consolidation mode. And if I point to this article right here, let me see here. Is it this one? Is the crypto market booming or maturing? So right now we're in a correction or a consolidation where things are kind of slowing down a little bit. And here's a comment from a Ronald Reagan, former director, Office of Management. It's basically a class of really stupid speculators. He's talking about you, he's talking about me, who have convinced themselves that trees grow to the sky. It will burn out in a spectacular crash. All of these latter-day speculators will have their hands burned to a crisp, and they will learn the proper lesson. This guy sounds really kind of mean. David Stockman. So, I mean, that's not a very compassionate thing. He kind of wants to see all of us get burned to a crisp, right? It's almost like he's almost like hoping that happens, which is kind of weird, right? Why would you wish ill will on somebody, especially the generation of youth? I mean, do you feel like the youth haven't been burned enough by the debt burden that's been put on them? I mean, how many of you out there know people who are buried in debt because of the old world system that put the millennials in so much debt, for whether it be for college or just to get by and get paid not as much as the older generation, got paid? So why isn't he? I'd be interested to see if this man has any solutions to help get the millennials back on track with some encouragement and some motivation to contribute to society with some confidence, instead of just kind of keeping them down they basically want to keep them downtrodden. I mean, these guys, we're coming up into our 30s now. When they were in their 30s, they probably had heydays. And I'm not saying that some of you guys aren't having heydays, but it's like he wants this to like fail so that these people can learn a proper lesson. Okay, maybe he wants us to learn a proper lesson. All right. Here's another one from Jeffrey Kleintop. That's not me. He's a chief strategist of Charles Schwab. I think the Bitcoin bubble, if you want to call it that, is something different. If Bitcoin prices were to plunge suddenly because it's so independent from the financial system, it's kind of like its own thing. It hasn't yet become embedded in the economy and the financial structure. Okay, so he's saying because cryptocurrency is not affected by the regular dollar and the currencies of the world, the fiat currencies, this thing's completely separate from that. So it's got its own volatility, separate from the fiat market and all that. Here's one from Marion Lake, Chief Financial Advisor at JP Morgan. We are very open-minded to the potential use case in future for digital currencies that are properly controlled and regulated. So this is coming from the Cointelegraph if you want to read this article. As you can see, the market's done this before. This isn't the cryptocurrency market, this is the stock market. So you can see how it went way up, and this is that the dot-com bubble, so to speak. So from 1996 to 2000, it was soaring. Alan Greenspan said irrational exuberance. So this is why you need to learn your history about the bubble. We could be close to the bubble popping, or we could be still very many years away from the bubble popping. But many would suggest that this market here, if we just look at the year to date, you can see, so you can see the market just kind of took off, and if you compare it to this, it definitely looks different. It's not really comparable, but you do have this launch right here. I don't know if we look at that, where can we see that? Like right here? I mean, we could be approaching the bubble. That was 1999 to 2000. So just be conscious of the fact that we could be developing a bubble here. Now, some of the things in the cryptocurrency space that concern me the most is the innovation and the creativity and maybe the work ethic. I will be the first to tell you that I do question the work ethic of some of these projects. Me personally, you guys have always said, Jeff, man, do you ever sleep? Do you ever stop working? You know, you guys have identified the work ethic. I have, in the technology space, one of the things that I've always credited my success toward, above all else, at least it's humanly possible, that I can control as a human, right? Outside of that, whatever external factors are at play, those are all, blessings and stuff like that. But I would definitely say that the thing that I would attribute as a human work ethic was my ability to work very focused, diligently, long hours. And where I got that from was by listening to guys like, let's just say, Michael Jordan. What was Michael Jordan's mantra when he was a star basketball player? It was he was the first to the gym and the last to leave. And I'm concerned that some of these projects are blasé. They don't take it very serious. They're like, oh, we're creating a project, and it's like, they go out to dinner, they put their feet up, they don't really take their project serious, they talk a big game, and if that's really occurring, that would create a bubble. But if these projects are getting in there, getting in the trenches and working hard, it will stabilize this market for the long haul. But these projects, they need to be working really hard, meaning they need to be focused, and they need to be putting in the hours, putting in that grind to carry this thing through. Sure, there's going to be some bad apples and some bad actors and some weaklings that aren't going to be able to keep up, and those are going to fall off the wayside. But the core, at the middle of it, needs to have some serious innovation going. And I would say that Ethereum, of all of the projects, has proven to be one of the strong ones in the market, and more companies should strive to be like Ethereum. Ethereum has been a juggernaut doing an outstanding job. If you want to talk about another project that's just done a great job like Ethereum, it's really hard to find one, but some of them are approaching Ethereum type market caps, right? You have Ripple. They've been doing a pretty good job of coordinating and making things go. I mean, look at the internet right now. What's going on with that? Maybe their website's got so much traffic on it right now because everyone's tripping out. I mean, we need to see some stuff from, like, we need to see some things really expedite here from these projects. And it's not just the ICOs and the projects. We need to see, like, I take issue with the fact that there's no website where I can publicly identify where the money's coming out of. Like right now, I don't know who's pulling the money out. I don't know. Is it coming out of Asia? Is it coming out of Wall Street? Is it the US dollar? Is it the Korean won? Is it the Japanese yen? Is it the British pound? Is it the yuan? I mean, where's the money coming from? Who's pulling the money out like this? Because there's obviously money coming out. And then that makes me question how the Bitcoin futures market is affecting it, because anyone who took out a bet that Bitcoin would go down is making a lot of money right now. So are whales able to manipulate the market with the futures contracts? I mean, the futures contracts, they could really essentially kill the cryptocurrency market just by putting money into cryptocurrency and then taking a bet against it, pulling all their money out, and then making money on the fact that Bitcoin goes down. You can see how someone could get mega wealthy by crashing this market. And I hate to say it, but I mean, yeah, this looks like whales. I mean, I talked about this the other day. This red candle. There's all this red. That's on the 24-hour. Big money's coming out. And it almost looks like it's because it's happening universally, with the exception of Neo here. It would appear as though it almost looks like a bot. Like it almost, no joke, looks like a bot. Like maybe a whale could have put a lot of money into a whole bunch of cryptocurrencies, and then they just pull it all out at the same time. But it doesn't look like they pulled it out of one coin in particular. They just pulled it out of the market. So they took out a bet. Maybe they bought 50 Bitcoin or whatever the number is, and then 100 Ethereum, 100,000 Ripple, 100 Bitcoin Cash, I don't know, a million Cardano, or whatever the case may be, and then they just pull it all out all at once, and every single one of them just kind of triggers, and they just all look like they're in the red. But they wouldn't just do it to one. They wouldn't just pump and dump or dump on one coin. So they do it throughout a variety of them, because it's just too weird to see all of these down like the same percentage. You see like anywhere between 10 to 20%. So they using a bot, they would say, okay, 12% of this one, 15% of this one, 10% of this one. You know, and it's like, so that's what I'm thinking kind of is suspicious about it, the bots. The only thing I could think that I can do personally is hold, because what I don't know is, are they trying to crash this thing? Are they trying to send the market into are they trying to crash the cryptocurrency market and send a whole bunch of people? Like that. The reason I call this guy's comments very insensitive, this guy right here, is because look how many projects are on here. And not all of these are just scams or jokes. I mean, there's a lot of legitimate projects on here that are working with people employed. I mean, all of these projects have people employed. Not to mention all the ICOs that have teams, that have people's livelihoods banking on this. So to hope, or to make a comment about hoping that this whole thing crashes and people learn a proper lesson, when people, like, these companies are working, they're not all, yeah, I'm questioning their work ethic when they're at work, but I'm also questioning, like, I'm saying they're also working, but maybe they could work a little bit harder, or make sure that they are being honest with themselves, that they are giving forth their best effort. But at the same time, I mean, they're still working. There's teams on every single one of these projects. I mean, I could pull up a team. I could pull up this website right here. I know a little bit about Komodo, but I could pull it up, and more than likely I'll be able to find something about their team. Maybe this isn't the best example, but they should have a team showing that there's people, there's real life people on this. Okay, so Komodo wasn't a great example of that. Okay, let's go to another cryptocurrency that actually shows their team. I don't know, let's go to Dragon Chain. We just did that one earlier. So you see they have a team. There's a whole bunch of people on this project here, you know, that their livelihoods rely on this, you know, on a project that they're putting their names to. And that's just one project, okay? But the point is, they shouldn't be hoping that this market crashes, or there shouldn't be some people out there hoping that this innovation, this new technology just burns, as they say, burn to a crisp. Really? Like, what is the sin of cryptocurrency here? That this guy would hope that people have their hands burned to a crisp and they learn their proper lesson. Okay, what? The fact that people think that cryptocurrency or that markets grow straight to the sky? Okay, maybe we should be a little bit more conscious of like reality, and that things do go up and down, and that we shouldn't just think that everything goes up all the time. Yeah, okay, that's an immature mentality that we could have, but to hope that everyone gets burned, including all the projects and all the investors, that's kind of rough. I don't know if I agree with that at all. Well, I know I don't. I think it's kind of brutal that he would say something like that. I would question. I would say that that's maybe why his generation, or that generation, has buried so many millennials in student loan debt and debt that people almost don't see an end in sight to the debt. And it's because of some mentality that would say, oh, I hope they learn their lesson. Like, was their generation that difficult on them or hard on them? Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so this is just my take on the market. It is a rant, totally. But on a lighter note, while we're holding and trying to take our mind off things, let us know on Instagram what you think of this shirt. We also posted it on Twitter. Trying to talk about other things, really. But anyways, let me know in the comments why you think the market's crashing. Is it because of South Korea? I don't think the South Korea thing, because cryptocurrency market not yet finalized. Is it that we're just consolidating and everyone's panicking and we're just kind of correcting and this is healthy for the market? Or is there something else going on? Let us know in the comments, please. If you're new here, please subscribe. And if you like videos like this, tap that bell to get notified when videos like this drop. This is Jeff with AltCoin Buzz.